Hey guys, assalamu alaikum, it's Jenna G. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my kitchen for another cooking video. In today's video, we are going to be making kibbeh, or kibbeh as some people pronounce it. So what exactly is kibbeh for those of you who don't know? Well, it is a Middle Eastern dish that comprises of bulgur wheat, mincemeat, onions and spices, and it's actually a meat-filled shell that covers a meat filling, so it's like perfect for meat lovers. So let's jump into this video. Let's make some kibbeh today. So like I mentioned, there are two parts to this kibbeh recipe. There's a shell and then there's a filling. So for the shell, these ingredients that we need would be minced beef is what I am using, or you can use minced lamb. I've already added some ground coriander in there. Going to be using 1 onion, bulgur wheat, which is very important, a key ingredient when making kibbeh. I'm going to be using also some roasted jeera or cumin, some paprika, ground cinnamon, a little bit of ground chili, black pepper and some salt. I'm going to need some oil to fry it in. And for the meat filling, I'm going to be using almonds, or you can use pine nuts or pistachios, walnuts. I'm going to be using some more onion, ground beef, or you can use the lamb, roasted jeera or cumin, paprika, ground cinnamon, ground chilies, black pepper, salt, and a little bit of olive oil to cook it in. From the ingredients, you guys could probably see that it's more or less just meat and spices with onions, even on the shell and in the filling. So let's talk about that. It's basically a two-part process. First of all, let's begin there. So there's the shell, that's meat and bulgur wheat with the spices, and then there's the meat filling for it. So I'm going to take you guys step by step, and we're going to do it slowly so you guys could understand properly and follow along carefully. So just remember, the full ingredients and the written recipe can be found on my website. The link will be down below so you guys can check that out after. If you want to get an idea of the exact measurements and a written recipe, check the link down below in the description box. So this bulgur wheat is a cereal grain and it's used a lot in Middle Eastern dishes, Middle Eastern cuisine. Now if you guys, I know you guys will wonder where you can purchase it. If you can't get it at your local supermarket, you can check any of the gourmet food stores. They usually have bulgur wheat, so you can check it out. Now we want to work with this. This is the first step to making the kibbeh. So the first thing you want to do is put that bulgur wheat to soak. It needs some prep before you can actually use it. So you want to put it in some warm or hot water, and you're going to let it soak for 30 minutes or so. So while that is soaking, we can work on the filling for the kibbeh. So the filling is basically minced beef or lamb if you have as well, and you're just going to be adding your seasonings, all the different seasonings to the meat. And you're going to heat some oil in a pan over low medium heat. So once the oil is nice and hot, you're going to add in your garlic and your onions. You're going to cook this for 2 to 3 minutes. Don't let the onions burn, but you want to make sure the onions are nicely cooked through. Your kitchen is just going to start smelling all yummy. Then you're going to add in your minced beef or your minced meat to the oil and the onions and the garlic. So minced beef or minced meat will take no time at all to cook. So it depends, 3 to 5 minutes, it depends. But usually the meat, it will change color, the beef will get darker. The chicken, if you're using chicken, it turns white, and it cooks up in no time at all, because remember, it's all minced up very finely. So once you have the minced beef or the minced meat cooked, you're going to add in your chopped up nuts. Now you can use pine nuts, you can use almonds, you can use walnuts. Pine nuts tend to be expensive, and just in case you can't get your hands on it, you can use almonds. I will admit though, for this, when I was doing this video, I got a little excited, and I decided instead of adding it to the filling, I just decided to add it to the shell. But ideally, let's just make sure we're clear on that. Ideally, it is usually found in the filling of the kibbeh, not necessarily the shell. But hey, it's the same sort of ingredients. So if you want to add it in the shell like I did, by all means go right ahead. I just didn't want to bite into the crunch. I didn't want to bite into the nuts in the filling, but you know, ideally it should be in the filling of the kibbeh. So up to you guys. So you're going to set that aside, let it cool properly, and when you're ready, when your bulgur wheat is finished soaking, you're going to remove the water from it. So ideally what you can do is actually place the bulgur wheat in a cloth and then put that into tie it up and then put it into a bowl with the water, so it's going to be easy when it's ready to squeeze out. But I didn't, so what I am going to be using is a J cloth, a clean J cloth of course. So I'm going to just put the soaked bulgur wheat in there, and I'm just going to be squeezing it out with my hands to get rid of all of that excess water. And all you're going to do is just basically squeeze it out. The next thing you want to do once you have all the bulgur wheat dried out or all the excess water removed from it, not necessarily dried out completely, you're going to add it to your food processor along with the uncooked minced beef and all the other spices, and the onion is going in there as well. You're basically going to process this until you get a nice pasty sort of mixture, and there are no chunks, and the bulgur wheat, there aren't any big pieces of it. So you want to make sure that this part of it, you ensure that the filling or like that mixture is a paste looking sort of mixture and smooth, or as smooth as possible. Now if you don't have the food processor, you're going to have to either use like a mortar or pestle and just get it all properly or finely chopped up. That's very, very important when you're going to be forming your shells on the outside. They ideally should be smooth. So just use anything that you have to just basically mash it all up and ensure that it's as fine as possible. So we've got the mixture and we've got the shell, the filling, and we've got the outer shell. So now it's time to assemble it. Now this part actually reminded me of doing gulab jamun. So if you saw my gulab jamun video, the stuffed gulab jamun, there was a part where I had to put the dough in my hand and then put the date or the prune in it and then fold it up and form the shape. It's exactly the same thing. Just in case you want to see that gulab jamun video, I'll post a link for that down below so you guys can check that out as well. But for this part, what you want to do is place some of the dough, or I say dough, but that's the mixture that you're going to be using for your outer shell. You're going to be placing some on your hand like this. In your palm, you want to make sure you dampen your hand first. Forgot to mention that. Make sure that you use a little water and rub it on your hand, dampen your hand a little bit. Take some of that dough mixture or that meat mixture, put it onto your hand, flatten it out a bit. Now you don't want it to be too thick, so you want to take about 2 to 3 tablespoons, put it on your hand, form that oval shape. Once you have that, you're going to take about a tablespoon of your meat filling and just put it onto the mixture. And then all you're going to be doing is just folding it with your both hands to form the proper oval shape. So when I said gulab jamun, I mean the Trini version of gulab jamun that I think it's commonly called rasgulla in other places. So when I say gulab jamun, I mean our Trini style gulab jamun. So just like the gulab jamun, ideally the outside of it should be as smooth as possible, and make sure you have that nice oval shape. So you're basically going to be doing the same thing for all of them, depending on the size of your kibbeh. Of course, the number that you get will vary, of course. But let's just say, just in case the meat filling runs out, if you did add a lot of the meat filling to the dough mixture, you can actually just form shapes out of the dough mixture and fry those as well. So what you can do, in case the meat filling runs out, you can actually just put it like a flat shape or a ball or some kind of different shape, so that you'll know that there's no meat filling. But remember, it's more or less the same ingredients for the shell and for the filling as well, so you won't really miss out that much on it if you do just decide to fry the outer shell mixture alone. So once you've had all of them all nicely laid out there, you're going to put it to chill in the refrigerator. This is very important. It's going to help it to firm up a little bit and make it easier to fry. So when you're ready to fry them, you're going to remove them from the refrigerator, leave it for about an hour or so, and you want to make sure that your oil is hot when you are going to fry these kibbeh. not too hot so that the outside is cooked and you have raw insides. You want to make sure it's a nice temperature. So ideally, what you can do with anything whenever you're frying, try 1 or 2, fry it, take it out, break it in half, just to make sure that the inside of it is cooked through properly. So you want to make sure that you manage your heat, maintain that heat, don't let it get too hot. And of course, if it's not as hot as it should be, stand the chance of your kibbeh falling apart, or with anything just soaking up unnecessary oil. So you're going to fry these for about 5 minutes or until they're nice golden brown or properly cooked through. And guys, there you have your kibbeh. So my kibbeh were fairly large inside, not huge, but you know, pretty large. But you kind of always adjust the sizes. So when you check the new recipe that I have down below on my website, I will give you guys an idea of how many you can or should ideally get from using these exact measurements. Bear in mind again that depending on the size you choose to use or you choose to make your kibbeh, of course it will vary. So let's talk about a couple of things. Of course, now this kibbeh was done properly. And when I say properly, I mean that the outer shell is as smooth as possible. You still see a little large pieces of the bulgur wheat, but that is fine. So it's more or less fairly smooth compared to, I don't know if you guys want to see this one. I don't even know if you'll be able to see this one. So let me tell you guys what will happen if you don't follow along with the steps properly, especially that food processor part of putting your bulgur wheat in there. Now, like I said, it's very important that the piece is as smooth as possible so you get this smooth look. If you don't process that bulgur wheat properly, this is what it's going to look like. And it probably won't hold together because it will still be as grainy and coarse, and you definitely don't want that at all. So please make sure when you are doing it that you process it properly so that it's as fine as possible. Of course, with any recipe that you're following along with, the spice level, the amount of spices can vary depending on your preferences, of course. So if you can always increase the spices, decrease the amount that you're using, have fun with it most importantly. So once you have your ingredients for this kibbeh recipe, it's pretty simple to follow along with. Just remember, there's a shell and then there's a meat filling. More or less the same ingredients, just the shell has the bulgur wheat on it. Remember to process it, get it all fine and in that paste. Make sure that you have it nicely shaped in your hand. Put your filling in, close it up properly. Make sure it's smooth. Let it chill for about an hour or so, and then fry it. It can sound very intimidating actually. When I was, trying to figure it all out, I must admit it did seem very intimidating. And clearly, as you saw, it does not always go well. So just remember to be careful with it. Follow along the steps through properly, and ensure that you use the recipe as a guide to ensure that you get the perfect kibbeh to enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe and this video. I know some of you guys have been requesting this for a long time now, and it's finally up. I hope that you guys appreciate it, and I hope that you guys are pleased with it. Like I said, give it a try out. It is not as intimidating as it sounds. And don't forget, check out the other recipes. Remember, each week my videos are more or less with a similar theme, so be sure to check out those Middle Eastern inspired chicken kebabs that I did, and that yogurt dip, the garlic herb yogurt dip. Those will actually go perfect with these kibbeh here. And don't forget to check out that taboulleh recipe as well. I'll post the links for all of them down below. The hummus is up on my channel, and also roasted potatoes as well, so you guys can put together a delicious Middle Eastern inspired meals. Post the links for all the videos down below so you guys can check them out. So as always guys, thank you so much for watching. Love and support is always very much appreciated. I will see you guys in my next video for some more